guys, my name is Shaniza Febriana, Assistant Code SYE. So in this video, we'll talk about array in C program. But before we talk more about array, there are three practicum aims. First, to understand the function of array. Second, to understand the meaning of string as array of chart. Third, can make a program with array 1 dimension or 2 dimension. And for the next, my friend Cynthia will talk more about array.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Cynthia Maulina Nur, Assistant Code CYN. In this video, we're gonna be talking about array. As we know, array is divided into three parts. They are one-dimensional array, multi-dimensional array, and array of string. So let's start with the basic theory of array. Array is a structured data types that can store a lot of data with the same name and occupy a place in memory in sequence and have the same data type. From that long explanation, we can conclude that array is essentially a collection of data values stored within one variable, or we could say that we can store multiple things in one variable. If you had to visualize an array, it's gonna look like a locker, but there is a difference between the two of them. As we know, locker numbering always start at 1, right? For example, if I have 5 locker spaces, we will count it from 1 to 5, but it's such a different thing for an array. Array numbering must start at 0, and that's the reason why arrays are always 0-based, meaning the first element has the index 0. Okay, so what are the differences a code with and without an array? Here, for example, we want to enter 5 students' grades. Without array, you will create 5 new variables, namely students' grade 1 to 5, like score 1, score 2, until score 5. But if you use array, you only need to use one variable. Okay, and now look at this. Without array, we have to type printf and scanf repeatedly until the number of students we want. In this case, we have to type 5 times, and we can imagine how much effort that we need to type if we want to enter more than 5 students. Of course, we want to let it happen, right? Overall, we can avoid a human error with an array. We neither have to double-check various variables nor semicolons which might be missed in our code. Okay, and then let's continue into the one-dimensional array. First, we will go to the array declaration of one-dimensional array. First, data type, and then space, variable name, and then square brackets, array size. So we're gonna declare it like integer, or we can type it int space a for the variable name, and then square bracket 100, so it means the array size of this array is 100. And then what data type can be used in array? They are integer, float, double, char, and created data type or struct. And then let's jump into the example. Here we got 5 size charts. They are 8, 12, 10, 13, and 7. So here we're gonna practice how to declare these size charts. Okay, first I want to tell you this. The size in this situation is an integer array, and the way you would define this is like this. Integer, because it's an integer array, right? So we're gonna type it like int space size chart, because the title of this array is size chart, so the variable name is size chart, and then you put the square brackets. So within these square brackets, you need to declare a size. An array is statically sized, so that means the size cannot change. You say what size it is, and that size is known at compile time. So when you compile your software, your array only has that many elements. You can't add any more. In this situation, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And don't forget to put the semicolon. Now we continue to syntax strlen. So what it is? strlen is a string length syntax. The purpose is to find the length of a string. For example, if I have a string bicycle, the syntax will count how many characters that use in the bicycle string. For example, B, Y, blah blah blah. So the syntax will count it, and we don't have to count it manually because the syntax will do it. And then don't forget that this syntax can be only used in string.h. The second one is flash stdin. So stdin is standard input, so flash standard input. This flash is used to empty the buffer input, so it kind of flash the buffer. It's like remove the buffer, because if we don't use the flash stdin, the gets that we type here, gets name blah blah blah, it would not be processed in our code. And then we continue into the multidimensional array. Actually, the concept of a multidimensional array is the same as one-dimensional array. The difference is the index limit of this array is more than 1. And then we continue to the array declaration of multidimensional array. Here we got data type, space, variable name, square brackets, array1 size, square brackets, array2 size. And then this example is for the two-dimensional array, integer a for the variable name, and then square brackets 100, square brackets 100. And this means the array 1 size is 100, the array 2 size is 100, so it would make a table with a 100 times 100. Here shown the range of this table, 1 until m for the row, 1 until n for the column. And then now let's jump into the last material, array of string. Here there are two names, there are Saleh and Ofi, but there is something different with before, because there are \0. So what it is? Firstly, array of strings is a two-dimensional array of characters, right? Arrays can contain any data type like char, integer, even other arrays, while strings are usually alphabetic characters ending in null. So the \0 is a null character. So what's the purpose of the null character? It was a design adoption. So C language is not the first language in programming, so it is a design adoption from previously language. The purpose is to simplify the calculation of string length, and it also for the memory allocation purpose. So there it is, the theory or material for the array, and the other assistant will explain you the source code. So thank you.
Hello, my name is Alvaro Muganao, Assistant Code VAR. Now I will explain about all the program that we use in this module. It is the array module. So the first is about one-dimension array. First, for example, we want to create a program to inputting score of the student. And now I have two examples of the program here by using array and without using array. If we create a program without using array, we need to write the printf and a scanf as much as the total of the student that we want to inputting the score. And also, we need to write the variable as much as the total of the score. Here, for example, we want to input the score of the 5 student. Type of the data that we inputted is integer, so we write int. Because we will input 5 score of the students, we need to write 5 variable. It is score 1, score 2, score 3, score 4, score 5, and semicolon. And after that, void main round bracket. Here, because of we are not using an array, we have to write the printf and scanf 5 times. It's not a problem if we just want to input the score of the 5 students, but if the total number of the students who we want to input the score, for example hundreds or thousands of students, it would be very inefficient, right? So it will be more efficient if we use array. As we can see, by using an array to create a program to inputting the score of the students, we just have to write the printf and scanf one time. The difference between using array and not using array is here. We can look at the variable score. There is an index 100. We can look in previous program. There is not an index in every variable. And for this program, we are using the looping. It is the for looping. And we input how many students that we want to input. It will input it to the n variable, and it will loop as much as the number that we input to n, and output the score of the student, and it will be inputted to the score variable. And don't forget to write the index I. Why we use I? Because the loop is using the I variable. Next is array of string. For example, in this program, we want to create a program to input the name, and after the input the name, the inputted name will appear again. In this program, it's still same like the previous program, but in previous program, we are using the integer, and in this program, we are using string. In string without using an array will be like this. But if we want to use array, will be like this. We add the index again. And this is the variable for the looping. And we input how many names that we want to input it. After that, we input the names, and the inputted string will be inputted to the names variable. And don't forget to write the index. After we input, it will loop the output from all the name that we input in. We just put the %s and names, and don't forget to write the index. For example, if we run this program, for example, how many names to name 1 is lab, name 2 is .com, and the output will be like this. Next is struct. For example, we want to create a program to input the name, student ID, and score. By using the struct, we can imagine the struct A, B, and C are like a class. There are class A, class B, and class C. This index is the maximum space of the class. For example, is 40. So the space for the class A, class B, and class C is 40. This is for the looping. For example, we just use the A class for the input in the struct. For example, we are input name in class A in index I, and we input the student number in class A in index I, and also we input the score in class A in index I. And for the output, we just write %s name in class A in index I, %s student ID in class A in index I, %i score in class A in index I. So let's try to run the program. How many student to name of the student 1 is .com. This one is 11. Score of the student 90. Name of the student lab, it is 22. The score is 100. And so the output is the data that we input. That's for the struct. Next is array multi-dimension. For example, in this program, we want to create a program to add two metrics. In array multi-dimension, as we can see, it looks like the array of string, but for example, in this program, we are using the integer. So here, we want to add the matrix variable 1 with matrix variable 2, and the result is matrix variable 3. So as we can see, again, there are two index. Why we use two index? Because this is two dimensions array. This is for the rows and this is for the columns. This is variable m is for the rows and this variable n is for the columns. So we input the rows to m variable and the columns to n variable. So this is the process to inputting the first matrix. We use the looping. It is the for looping. The first looping is for the rows and the second looping is for the columns, and then we input the rows and the columns as much as the number of the rows and the columns that we inputted it before, and it will input it to matrix 1. And this is for the matrix 2. The process is same like the matrix 1. And this is the process of the addition from both of the matrix. Here matrix 1 plus matrix 2. So the value will input it to matrix 3. And this is for the output, also using the looping. So in this program are using the looping inside the looping. For clearly, let's try run the program. For example, let's try to add the matrix 2 times 2. For example, the first matrix 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the second matrix is 5, 5, 5, 5. The result is 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Before we end this video, we've created an exercise for you guys. So please create a program using array and struct with an input string for A. Find the longest string length. B. Find the shortest string length. Odd name does point A, even name does point B. Example, input number of string means n 4, string 1 hello world, string 2 dascom, string 3 looping, string 4 forever, output or output. The longest string length 11, short string length 5. And for the answer, please write on the paper and upload as a PDF file at bit.ly/tp-com2020. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope this video will useful for you guys and see you next video. Bye!